welcome back to the Simply Stacy YouTube channel. It's your girl Simply Stacy, and today this is the Simply Success series, episode number 7. And this is about Simply Self Still. We're talking about Simply Financial, and today's topic is savings. So, if you guys watched the episode prior, we talked about budgeting, and today we're going to talk about savings. So, there again, the reason that we're having this series is because in order for you to be successful in life and for you to be successful in every area of your life, you have to take care of your finances. It's all a part of your Simply Self, so your self-care, your mind, body, soul, and your finances. So, saving. I have a quote for you guys. The habit of saving is itself an education. It fosters every virtue, teaches self-denial, cultivates the sense of order, trains to forethought, and so broadens the mind. And that is a quote by T.T. Munger. So, honestly, in order to save, you have to have some dedication, some willpower. You need to know what it is you're saving for, because without that, then most times you may actually just kind of fail. You won't actually do the saving. Okay, guys, so there are some reasons that most people save for. Normally, when people are saving, there is a reason. Saving for baby, saving for a house, saving for college, for my child. There are a number of reasons that people save. I'm getting married, so I'm saving for a wedding. There are a number of reasons that people save for. So once you have your reason or your why, as we talked about in the last video, once you have that why, I feel like it's easier for you to save because you know what the goal is. So that's really the key term, is goals. What is your saving goal? Is it for a vacation? Is it for a trip? Depending on what the goal is, there's probably an amount, so you have to make it quantitative instead of just a qualitative arbitrary number. You need to come up with what it is. So I want to go on a trip to Greece. That's probably going to cost me, depending on how many days, how long I'm going, let's say about $2,000 to $5,000. So I know I need to save that. So you take your income and your expenses, and then if you have something left over, that could go to your savings. Or you can do like I do. And so when I get paid, I first pay God, because I do tithe, and then I pay myself. So I take 10% of it off the top and put it into a savings account. So if you also do that, I build that in as an expense because I can't afford it. But if you can't afford it, then maybe you don't do 10%. Maybe you have a number, like maybe it's $100 a check or $50 a check or $50 or $100 a month to get you to your goal, depending on when you need that money by. Saving is very important. So you need to make sure that you know what you're saving for. You want to know how much that cost, and then you can do all of these calculations to determine how much you need to save every month to get you where you need to be. So for instance, this $5,000 goal to go to Greece, say in a year from now. So you need $5,000 saved in a year, but you may have incremental payments that you have to do. So say you're using a travel agent, and in 3 months or halfway the trip, you got to pay a deposit today, and then you have to pay 6 months from now, half of the trip, and then the remaining will be due when it's actually time for the trip. However it works, you can calculate that and figure out how much you actually need to save. So say, for instance, it all comes down to about $400 a month. Do you have an extra $400 a month? Because that may not be your realistic goal or time frame. Because you may still be able to go, but it may not be next year. It might be the following year, like the year after next. So you need to take all those things into consideration when you are deciding what you're saving for, how long you have to save. Say, for instance, college, a kid. Child turns 18, you need money for school. So do you have time from the time the child is born to get them the money. So there's all these accounts that you can put it in. You can get interest, talk to a financial advisor or financial planner, and they can get you guys on the right track. But all we're really talking about is having a goal, setting that goal, knowing exactly what the specifics of that goal is, and then figure out how you're going to save to get to that goal. So I do have some Simply Do's. So Simply Do's are the things that you simply should do when it comes to savings. When my book is ready for purchase, Simply Success, Defining and Manifesting the Level of Success You've Always Envisioned, is available for sale. You guys will get more details on savings and goals and some of the goals that I've put in place myself, and you guys can see if I actually achieved them or if I didn't, where I fell short, why I fell short, and how you guys can either mimic that or, take it a step further based on your own individual personalized goals. Basically, we're creating your roadmap to success. That is what this book is all about. I wanted to share my lessons learned with you guys. Hopefully you guys get something out of this, because if I can help one person, then I feel like I am walking in my purpose and I'm doing what I was put on this earth to do, and that is to help other people to live their best lives, to be as successful as they want to be, to just be overall the best they can be in every single area of their lives. So I'm going to give you those Simply Do's now. So the first one is simply do save for a rainy day. You never know when those out-of-pocket expenses are going to come up, right? You may have your budgets done and then your car breaks down. We mentioned that example before, but those things happen all the time. Your child needs money for a field trip that you didn't actually plan for because it wasn't on the schedule, but all of a sudden it came up. Or, just anything could come up that you need extra fees for. So save for that rainy day. Make sure that you have a pot of money put to the side that you don't dip into on a regular basis, but that you can go into when you really, really need it. Okay, so the next Simply Do is simply do save for big purchases. Like, honestly, I get such joy. Like, honestly, I get such joy when I'm paying for something out of pocket with my own money, not on credit, not, going into more debt trying to buy something that I really want. So I want to say probably maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I wanted these pair of shoes. They were a little pricey. They were probably about $600, a little bit more. I wanted those shoes so bad. I'm like, okay, you know what? For my birthday in August, I am going to buy me a pair of those shoes. So you know what I did? Every month I put a little bit of money aside instead of just swiping a credit card and having $600 and $700 plus interest. Don't forget about that interest on those credit cards. So plus interest to pay back at a later date. So I saved. August rolled around. I had enough sitting in my bank account to buy those shoes. I went to Neiman Marcus and I got the shoes. And I just felt such joy. One, I purchased them and I was debt free in purchasing those shoes. I didn't add any more. They weren't $650 plus interest. They were right there on the price. Now that isn't the biggest purchase, but to me in that time, $700, $650 whatever dollars for a pair of shoes was a big purchase to me. So like if you're going for a vacation, if you're going for to buy a car, you can save for these big purchases so that you won't go deeper into debt trying to swipe a car, get finance for the purchase and stuff like that. Sometimes there is probably no other way around it. You may have to do that. If you're not a millionaire, you can't just always go and buy a house in cash, right? You do sometimes have to get finance, but you can save for down payment and other things like that. You're having a baby. I don't know what it is in 2020, but the last I read years ago was it costs about $250,000 to raise a child. That is one child. So If you plan on having children and you don't already have them, start saving. Like legit, start saving. But yeah, so do save for those big purchases, whether it's a vacation, whether it's a pair of shoes, a purse that you really like. Save up for it so that you can get that sense of satisfaction and not having to worry, because you don't want that buyer's remorse either. So I know back when I was swiping for purchases, there was always like this panic. I'll get home, like, oh my God, did I really need that? Oh my God, can I afford this? Oh my God, I'm gonna pay interest on this. Oh my God, how much is that actually gonna be when I'm done with it? Like all this goes through my head. Listen, I still kept the purchases, but it was just all the worry and all this stress that I could live without. So if you guys can live without that stress, please save. And I mean, if it's $500 or something, you can put $50 away, every month and then get to that, relatively quickly. So just depending on what it is, how much it costs, and how long it takes you, or when you actually want to buy, you can determine how much each month you need to save toward that particular purchase. But do save, like we said, for a rainy day regardless. Okay, the next Simply Do is Simply Do automate your savings. So I don't know if you guys remembered me saying this, but I'm going to reiterate it. So when I get paid every 2 weeks, so twice a month. Every time I get paid, I first tithe, that is my first payment, and then I pay myself, which is savings. So I personally go into my bank account and transfer from my checking account to my savings account. However, you can automate this, especially if you're not good with things like that and you don't do it on a regular basis, or you may forget from month to month, or you just may say, you know what, I'm not going to do it. Put that on automated. They have systems, especially if you bank with the same people, where they can automatically take it from your account and move it over on a certain day. You can pick a day of the month and you can have that automated. It's nothing you have to think about. I treat my savings just like another bill. So it's a part of my expenses. Remember, we talked about expenses and budgeting, your income, what's coming in, your expenses, what's going out. That is something that is going out for me, even though it's going back to me in a different way. I count that as an expense. Next Simply Do is, this is something else I've talked about already, is Simply Do pay yourself first. So I say first, but actually with me it's second, because I pay God, then I pay myself. So do save. Don't wait till the last minute and whatever is left over you get. Go ahead and get yourself an amount that you want to save every month and do that. So that means maybe at the end of the month you can't eat out, or at the end of the month you can't go to the movies, or some of those little miscellaneous costs. If you've already paid yourself at the beginning of the month, then you may cut back there, as opposed to getting to the end, doing all that you want to do, and having just a minuscule amount of money to put into your savings account. Or zero. Zip, zero, de nada. De nada? Nada. I don't know. I don't speak Spanish. I took French. Anyway, you don't want it to get to the point to where you don't have anything left over for yourself. So Simply Do pay yourself first. Okay? The next thing you simply should do is you simply should save responsibly, save smartly, and save wisely. What do I mean by this? Well, there again, you need to know what your why is, what are you saving towards, how much that cost, and when you need it by. Because if you leave all those factors out, you can be saving and saving and saving and maybe never have enough to get what you need because you're not saving the correct amounts, or you're not saving it in enough time that you'll have it when you need to have it. So you need to know what it is you're saving for, how much it costs, and what's the time frame on when you'll need that money by. That is super important. If not, you can be saving in vain, or you could just keep saving and you've already reached your goal. You don't even know you reached the goal because you didn't have a goal to begin with. So when you're saving for goals, do so responsibly, wisely, meaning that you've already checked all those things off. You know exactly what you're saving toward. Other than those, I'm just saving because I may have something come up down the road. Okay. And then the last thing is do create an emergency fund. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard about it. If you've ever read any finance books or taken a finance class, I'm sure you've heard about it. If you know about Dave Ramsey, I've quoted him a couple of times during this financial piece. He definitely talks about an emergency fund. So the premise of an emergency fund is you need to save at least 3 to 6 times your monthly expenses somewhere, so that if something happens, like you get laid off from work, there's a pandemic and you can't go to work, you lose your job, you're in an accident, whatever the case may be, you're no longer getting paid, you can take care of your expenses at least for 3 to 6 months until you can maybe recover, get another job, or the economy bounces back, the pandemic is over. Whatever the case may be, you need to make sure that you've saved that amount of money. So that is a really, really tall job to do, because a lot of people, your expenses are quite surmountable. They're enormous. You have a lot of expenses, and they're probably somewhere around what you bring in. So if you're no longer bringing that in, can you survive on 3 months? Can you survive 6 months without it? There are furloughs with the government, layoffs, and all these other things. There are a number of reasons, and right now we're in the middle of a freaking pandemic. So who knew that some people would get laid off from work? Who knew people would be off from March? Now we're in May, and there's still no real idea of when we're going back. So that is why you need an emergency fund. And I'm sure this whole predicament that we're all in has taught people that that's even more important these days than you may have thought before. So this is like, once you've paid all that debt off, or once you, I'm sorry, not once you pay all your debt off, but like once you've made sure that you're good, you want to go ahead and save that up, and then you want to start tackling that debt. Okay, guys, so please like, comment, and subscribe. And most importantly, share this video. If you have anybody, when I say anybody, young, old, it does not matter, who needs to know something about how they can be successful in every area of their life, how they can define what success is to them, how they can manifest those things that they've always envisioned when it comes to their success, their personal success, their personal finances. Because right now, guys, we are talking about Simply Financial, and this is the second video in that portion. This is Simply Savings. And please share this with any of your friends, any of your family members, any of the young people at your church, anybody that just needs to know a little bit something about finances. Because I'll tell you, I taught myself most of it. I learned things here and there, but the whole collective, I read, I learned, I studied. But some people may just need these little bit of tidbits that can help them just to become better with their finances in general. And let me tell you, when you get the book, Simply Success, then you'll learn more and more and more about budgeting and savings and credit. Because all those things are important, and they have a long-term effect on what you can do and your level of success. Because let's be honest, if you're worried all the time about your finances, you don't have any money, or you thinking and being 100% is your mind super alert when it comes to doing work at your job, in your career? Are you focused? Are you focused on those things at home? Like, I need to pay my electric bill, but I don't have any money. Or I got this bill that's about to get this late fee. Like, it's a lot of stuff that comes with your finances being out of whack and out of order. So the better you can get those things in line, the better you are in your overall success. Like, honestly, you will be so much better when you don't have to think about finances. Finances is one of the leading causes for divorce. People fight about finances all the time. So if you guys have that in order, you guys are on the same page, then that's one less thing you guys have to fight about. Like, honestly. So I'm just going to say, please like, comment, subscribe, and definitely share this video. Okay, guys, I'll be coming back. We'll be talking about credit. I'll see you guys next time. Do not forget to hit the notification bell next to subscribe so that you can be notified anytime I post a video. You do not want to miss any more of these videos in this series. If you already missed some, please go back to Simply Self, to Mind, Body, and Soul, and the first part of finances, which was budgeting. And then here you go with savings, and following it will be credit. Thank you. See you next time.